Hi, everyone, and welcome to If She Knew, a podcast where we talk about mental health, vulnerability, and all sorts of real life experiences that a lot of people go through but don't really talk about. As always, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow, as well as follow along on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Tierney's Journey, which is TIERNEYS Journey. You guys, how are we doing this week? I've been so excited to come on and have a little chat this week because it's been a little bit of a crazy time for me right now. I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about trauma and how it sneaks up on you, because I originally wasn't going to be talking about this week, but this past weekend, Caleb and I, kind of out of the blue, we've been thinking about going to see houses and stuff like that, but we haven't done it yet. And then we found some houses that we liked, and we're like, oh, they're having open houses, let's just go. So we're like, okay, yeah, fun, exciting. And it is exciting, but when we went to this open house, it was like a weird thing where I was fine going through the house, and then later that night, I started to have flashbacks because my house that I grew up in was very similar looking to this house, similar colored walls, similar light fixtures, and I started to just have these clear, vivid images of that house and all the things that were broken in it, the things that weren't clean, all the bad things that had happened in that house, when they sold that house and we had to go live with random people because we didn't have a house anymore. All of that stuff started to just flood back in, and of course I've processed, I thought I've processed that and talked about it in therapy a lot, but it's just weird how little things can trigger your memories and bring things back, because even though you go to therapy and you're processing all these things, the trauma, when you grow up with it, it kind of builds who you are and a lot of your personality and your memories. So it can be a long time for you to process all of these emotions and all of these memories and figure out, it's going to be a long time, I feel before if I stop having little flashbacks like that. I think therapy helped me to figure out how to react to them, but I don't really know if I'll ever get rid of them, which is something interesting to think about, and I'm curious to see what happens in the future with that. But I don't know. That was it was a rough week, because looking for houses is supposed to be really exciting, and it is fun, it's really exciting, it's also really scary, but I feel when you grow up in a house that's traumatic, or that you see a house for sale that looks similar to that house, or have some sort of little thing that triggers these memories, it can start to feel scary and anxious, because I don't know if this makes sense to anybody else, but in my head, I have to tell myself that me getting a house and moving into a house, I get to start my own life. I get to build a home from scratch. And just because I'm moving into a home doesn't mean that it's going to end up being like my previous home experience with my family, and how all of that ended up with my parents' relationship and living in different places and all these things. And I think that it's a weird fear that trauma kind of puts in you for things that come up in the future. And I'm super grateful that me and Caleb have a great relationship, and we have Moose, and it's a totally different dynamic than I had growing up. Along with that, I have been I've had this for a long time, but because I have PTSD, I have nightmares pretty much every night, to the point where my dreams, it's just normal for me to have nightmares. That's just how my dreams are. They're someone chasing me getting kidnapped, worse things that I am not going to bring up, but that's what my dreams are usually every night. And it's a weird trauma response, and I don't know if necessarily what they mean. I'd be so interested to talk to somebody about dream analysis and stuff like that, but I haven't found out how to get rid of them yet. Like, I feel like I very rarely will have an actually, like, good dream. Most of the time, they're bad dreams, and I know a lot of it is because I have anxiety. So, of course, all the things that you worry about happening during the day will pop up in there and be like the most extreme situations that don't even make any sense. But I am curious, like, of how, like, I've been able to get to sleep better. Like, I've still been, as far as I know, getting my full 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I think I've just gotten used to having nightmares and, like, I can sleep through them now. But I'm very curious to see if there's a way to, like, get those to stop, or if they will go away eventually, or if I'm just, like, used to it and that's just going to be what's going on with me for the rest of my life. But I don't know. I'm still on the lookout for a new therapist because my therapist, I love her, but she is going to go back to school. So she's not going to be practicing for a little bit. So I have to find a new therapist, which, like I said on my one TikTok, is kind of hard because especially when you have trauma that wasn't like one significant event, like a car accident or something like that, and you grew up with like family trauma and severe anxiety and depression, like it's hard to navigate retelling like all 8 seasons, 22 episodes of like your life story to a new person, because one, is just really long and hard to explain, and there's so many like details that it's hard to make any sense of, oh, did I tell them this? What did I tell them? Da 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 da. But therapy is always good. I think it's always good. I know it's not helpful for everybody, but I always think it's worth giving a try. Obviously, I am not a professional in this field. I'm just sharing my life experiences, but I have grown a lot from therapy, and it is one of my goals for 2025 to find another therapist and get back into going to therapy. I'm just trying to put my best self out there in 2025. And I know that some people I've seen on TikTok already have had a rough couple weeks, and it's a hard year they're going into because they are in a bad place, they feel like. And I know exactly how that feels like, because last year going into New Year's, I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited for the new year. I was severely depressed, and everybody else was happy. And I was like, I am never going to get to that point. I'm never going to be excited for the new year. I'm never going to be happy again. And this new year, I woke up feeling hopeful. Obviously, there's been some hard, stressful things still. That doesn't go away. That's part of life. But I have hope in the fact that I have all these goals that I want to work toward, and just trying to prioritize my health and the important things in life, and not worrying so much about the little things. And we'll see how that goes. You know, we'll do a little update in next year's 2026 video, I guess. But yeah, I'm just like encouraging you guys this year to really just try to focus on yourself. I don't care if people think that's selfish. It's not. You have to prioritize your health. If you're not doing good, you can't help anybody else. So prioritize your health. Go see a therapist. Go do medication. Whatever you have to do to help out your mental health, so that you are able to be your best self, the best functioning self, for your job, for your family, for your friends, and for yourself. So I'm putting that out there this year for you guys. And I know that making goals can be really hard and seem like a lot and like a huge thing to do. And when you're trying to even just like struggling to get out of bed in the morning, like creating a goal seems like a hard thing to do. But your goals don't have to be like huge goals. Make them small, make them little things to take care of yourself. Like, I'm going to take a shower today. And then grow from there as you get better. And I don't think there's anything wrong with starting out small. I know some people have huge goals, but you can't compare yourself to other people, because everybody's at a different point in life. Everybody's going through something different. Everybody grew up with a different experience. So you just have to do what's best for you, and do what's best for you in this new year and how you want yourself to grow this year. It has been a very, very long week for me. Today was rough. Today was a rough day at work. I was in a little bit of a struggle bus. I think that I'm still trying to figure out how to process my anxiety in a lot of ways. And I'm definitely better at, prioritizing things and looking at what's really important and what's not as important to get done and stuff like that. But it does take me a minute to stop getting overwhelmed. Like, I have to walk away and take a break before I come back to something, because I'm one of those people that has like a list of like 1,000 things, and the list just keeps going and going and going and going. And even as you cross something off, you add something to the list. And it's hard for me to do jobs where I can't cross off every single thing in a list. And it's like things that you have to wait to hear back from other people and stuff like that, because then in my head, those are just things that are like constantly going on in my head, like thinking about, oh, I need to schedule this, I need to do this, I need to do this, but I can't do that yet because I don't have this. So that's something that I'm still working on, trying to train my brain to get around. But this year is all about facing our anxieties and doing things that we're afraid of. I am also doing that with 2025. I went to a cavern, which is like an underground cave kind of thing, and it has very narrow tunnels. It's like 140 feet under the ground. I am very claustrophobic, and I am terrified of like things caving in, and I didn't want to go because I was having a very anxious day. My anxiety levels were really high, but I decided that Caleb and I were going to go because I had to force myself to do it. Like, I couldn't be afraid of everything. Obviously, sometimes anxiety and fear is good because it protects you from danger. But when you have such high anxiety, you fear things that aren't actually that scary. So it's hard to push yourself to do those things. But luckily, Caleb helped me with it. And it was a short tour. It was like 45 minutes. So we got through that quick. And then we went to get food afterwards for a little reward for me. But that's one thing that I'm going into 2025 trying to do more of, especially like public speaking. Like, that's something that I want to do more of, because that's like not something that's in my comfort zone necessarily. But I think that I really enjoy talking about this stuff, and I have a message to share, and for people to feel less alone in their experiences. And that's ultimately why I share my experiences, is because when I was going through it, I felt like nobody else knew what was going on. Like, I was very alone. I felt like it was just me, that everybody else's life was perfect. Everybody loved their jobs, all of that stuff. And it wasn't very helpful not to see other people going through it. So I'm trying to be that person for other people to say, hey, you aren't the only one. I'm also going through it. It's normal. It's okay. Some goals for 2025 that I have are to meet some more people and hear about their experiences. I have some interviews scheduled, and I'm excited to meet them and hear about their stories. I want to do some public speaking. That's like one of my reach goals, so we will see if I get to that. But if I do, that would be great. I think also bringing into 2025, I don't think we should say cringe anymore. I think that we should just let people enjoy their lives and have fun. Like, if somebody's over there doing a TikTok dance, maybe a couple years ago I've been like, that is kind of cringy. But now I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. Enjoy your life. Have fun. Life is short. Also, today I was having a really rough day, and it was one of those days that I haven't had a like full-on cry breakdown in a really long time. And I haven't necessarily gotten like super close to that happening in a long time. But today was really pushing it. I came home and I told Caleb, I'm at the point where if like one little thing goes wrong, I'm going to just break down crying. Like, I had a rough day. I was like, I can't handle anymore. Like, please just let me like sit in silence. And Caleb and I had to go to a meeting tonight. So I got home from work. We got in the car. And at first I was like, I just need silence. And then Caleb put on If Anybody Has Seen Anyone But You, which is like a romantic comedy with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney that came out the past year. You would know that the Serenity song in that is Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. And funny story, that was actually my number one Spotify song because I had turned it into my Serenity song. It just gives me happiness. And Caleb put it on in the silence, and it actually worked. It got me out of my like slump, and I started to sing along, listen to some Chapel Rowan, listen to Pocket Full of Sunshine, just listen to the positive vibes and get in the groove. And it's funny how much music can change your mood, because it helped a lot. It also helped that after our meeting, Caleb got me garlic knots from this pizza place that we really love, and we always get the garlic knots, and I love them. I'm not gonna lie though, this week I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. I feel like I could sleep for hours. I went to bed at 8:30 on Friday and slept until 10 a.m. on Saturday, which I hadn't done in a really long time. And sometimes your body just needs some rest. I think that my body's just been going through a lot of stress with work and all of this stuff that I have just been go, 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 go. And I've been having fun doing like a bunch of activities and stuff every weekend, but my body's like, I just need a little bit of time to recoup. So that's like, normally if you have any time off, your body's going to want to sleep because you've been doing so much that your body just needs rest. I'm not going to lie, I'm really tired. So I think after this, I'm going to probably go to sleep, eat some pizza, shower, and go to sleep. I do love that on my most recent podcast on TikTok, a lot of people have been commenting about their experiences with nursing and saying things like, oh, you should really be like a CNA or something like that before you go into the healthcare field, which is true. It's a good point. You should do that. And I did work in healthcare. It doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes you can love, they're completely different jobs. So different responsibilities. And you can love being a CNA and a med tech and hate being a nurse. And that's okay. And sometimes you obviously don't really figure that out until you get your nursing degree, and you're even like on orientation, you're still with another nurse. So it's not like all on you, and like that anxiety, that pressure, it doesn't feel as suffocating because it's shared, versus like when you're on your own and it's just you are the only one doing this job for like your patients right now. So like everything is kind of on you, it feels like, and there's a lot of pressure. And I know like that gets better as time goes on for some people, but I just knew this was not going to be it for me. I really loved the research side. I love the information, and I love talking to people. It's just the environment, because I grew up with anxiety already and mental health struggles. That environment was just not working for me. And at that time, I couldn't get myself to go to therapy or on medication or anything like that. And it was just not a good environment for me to be in that time. I'd love to hear more about what you guys do for your nursing jobs. And if you've had to switch, if you hated your job when you first started and now you like it, if you've made a career change to something completely different from nursing, or from bedside nursing to nursing research. I'm interested to know, because I know that there's like a lot of fields and stuff that you can do. And I am kind of still in the realm of nursing with like working in the law side of it. So that's kind of one of the ways that I'm kind of using my degree still. But I'm interested to hear what other people are doing with their degrees right now. But this podcast is going to be very random. I am just blabbering here. I had a busy weekend, I'm not going to lie. So next week we have a special guest. That was Moose that you just heard walk past. But this weekend we'll have a special guest for the podcast coming out on Wednesday, where we'll be talking about generational trauma, family trauma, how to raise your children in ways that are different from how you were raised, and all that good stuff. So go listen to next week's podcast as well. and rate the podcast 5 stars. If you don't know how to do that, go to the profile page, hit the 3 little dots, and then you can hit rate show and give it a little for I don't know what words I'm trying to say, 5-star rating. But yeah, I hope everybody has a fantastic week and love you. Bye.